Hello, spiritual seekers. It's Sid here, your spiritual muse, with my little one Cassidy. So if she makes a peep, I may have to pause the video. And I'm here today to talk to you guys and to do a little tutorial on basically just the basics of how to read an astrological chart. So if you go to astro.com, this is my favorite way to make an astrological chart, and you plug in your birthday, time, place, and birthday, time, and place. You can get a chart that looks like this. So when you're reading this chart, there's a couple of things you want to look at. Now this is going to take a little talent with one hand, but so the things you're going to see first are around the outside of the chart. We have the signs, and these symbols all represent a different astrological sign. So you'll see that first, the part outside. And then this inner part is going to show you a bunch of numbers, like these little triangles. Inside the middle is a number, and it'll be, 1 to 12. There's 12 different houses is what that represents. And then the next thing you'll see is inside of there's a bunch of planets, and the planet symbols, so the planet symbols are inside of the houses, and also, inside of the area where you have the astrological sign. So when you see this, you can say to yourself, okay, so for instance, this is my astrological chart, by the way. So for instance, my Venus, that's Venus, that's what that symbol means. My Venus is inside of Mars. Inside of Aries, I mean. Aries is ruled by Mars. Oops. So it's inside of Aries. And then it's also in, what's that number say at the bottom? The 10th house. So that's how you would read a chart. You would basically start with the planet and see what sign it's in and what house it's in, right? And then if you want to know what your sun sign is, you're going to see where the shape is. It's like a circle with a dot in the middle. That'll be your sun sign. The three major signs are the sun, the moon, and the rising. So the sun and the moon are really easy to find. That's the sun. Mine's in Gemini. And then the moon also looks like a moon. It's down at the bottom if you see it there. So my moon is in, oh my gosh, I know this. My moon is in Virgo. I forgot for a second. My moon is in Virgo. And then the rising or the ascendant, if you're like, what the heck is that? That was the one that was the most confusing for me. Your rising or ascendant, you'll actually see the letters AC on the side over here. And the AC is ascendant, and that's basically the horizon. So your ascendant sign is what was rising over the horizon at the time you were born. So in order to know your ascendant sign, you need to know your time of birth. The rest you can figure out without. But the ascendant is going to be really important to determine in terms of your time of birth. You need to know that. And mine is in Cancer. That's what that sign is, that indicates. And it's in the 12th house. And I don't think I said this, but Virgo here is in the 3rd house, or my moon in Virgo is in the 3rd house. So then you might be wondering what all these lines are in the middle. So this is where we get into the geometry of astrology. Now this is pretty beat up, I'll admit, because this is my birth chart and I've had it for a while. So this lines in the middle indicate like geometric shapes. They're called aspects. So the aspects are drawn in these lines, and the lines are going to show you, basically, she's starting to start, these lines are going to show you how the planets relate to each other, right? So there's things called conjunct, there's opposing. You've heard me say things like that in my other videos. So that has to do with like the angle that the planets are relating to each other. And that's a little bit more of a higher level thing. If you're reading your own birth chart, you're probably not going to read the aspects of it. If you do, it can make it even more interesting. But you don't have to go that far into it. It's good enough just to see, well, depending on how you feel about it. But, for a beginner, I would say just see which house the planet's in and which sign. And you don't need to necessarily know the degrees and how the signs relate to each other until you're ready for that. You know, that can come later. But what's great about Astro.com is that if you're trying to figure out where, like what the symbols are, it's all on the side in this little key. So that's really, really awesome. And you can even find the aspects too down at the bottom. But honestly, the easiest thing for you to do if you want to read your chart is go to Astro.com, type in your information, and then you can just look at this and read it, and that'll tell you where everything is. But the most important things are the sun, the moon, and the rising sign. And that's what most people will ask you about. But if you want to read your full chart, it's really, really interesting. And if you want to know your full chart, but you don't want to go through all the hassle of doing this, it takes me about a month to do a full astrological chart. Being a human that lives a normal life and has to do other things other than just doing it every minute of the day. So if you want one done, I'm more than happy to do one for you. You can just contact me and I'd be more than happy to create one for you. I'll actually probably post a link below to my listing on the website for an astrological chart. So I hope that this video kind of gave you guys a little bit of an idea of how to read an astrological chart, specifically the ones that you'll find on Astro.com. It's just an awesome reference, and it makes it really accessible to anyone to know at least the basics of their astrological chart. And that way you can figure out your sun, your moon, and your rising. So that way when someone asks you, you'll know what it is and you can know maybe a little bit about what it means. And if you ever want a chart done or any type of moon reading, just let me know. I'm more than happy to do that for you. So thanks for watching my little tutorial. I hope that it helped you, and I will see you next time. Blessed be, guys.